Three shots, four par, I just do two. One putt, par four, birdie, woohoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par five, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into. Start right, good line, good view. It drew, shooter McGavin.
Okay, Andy Rajhathy, VP and PGA Canada professional, Commissionaires Ottawa Open Tournament Director.
Yep.
Okay, we got that. All right. Not a bad intro. That worked out pretty well. So, names are not our strongest suits. We definitely, I can definitely ruin some of those, man. We've had a few tough ones over the years, so I'm glad we got that out of the way early. But Andy, I know you guys are slammed. We're recording this. I'm going to be putting this out this afternoon, so we're recording this on the moment of almost. This is pretty much live. So, can you kind of give us an update on the event? We're talking about the Commissionaires Ottawa Open. On the event, kind of where you guys are at, the dates it's going to be. It is coming up very soon. Just kind of like an intro and an overview of where you guys are at now.
Sure. Yeah. So the Commissionaires Ottawa Open is taking place July 17th to 23rd. Currently, we're in advanced week. So course preparations, infrastructure, putting up some tents, hospitality areas, VIP, getting our car partners on site to display some vehicles, and really working with the golf course staff to ensure that everything's going to be flowing smoothly. Lots of small details, but we got a great team here between our volunteer committee, PGA Tour Canada staff. Things are going well, and we're looking forward to the big week next week.
So Bryce sends his regrets. He's at work right now, but we're kind of talking about how we haven't been able to do something like this before. I've talked to Scott Pritchard before, got like an overview of what the PGA Tour Canada is, a lot of those types of tours, but one of the things we were talking about is like how cool and fascinating it would be to actually put on an event. We've been lucky enough to go to like the Canadian Open. He was at the Rocket Mortgage, I think, for one of the days there because he's down in he's in Michigan. So, can you give us like an idea of maybe how many people are on your group or within your group, kind of putting the tournament together?
Yeah. I will say the hardest part about running events is running it the first year. So our background is running golf events. So we had a pretty good idea from the get-go, and it was I won't say a tough decision, but it took a while to ensure that we wanted to take on a PGA Tour Canada event, and obviously we eventually decided to do so. So it's really about the people who you surround yourself with. The event plan from the get-go is key. So once we knew we were taking it on, I started getting all the details in place, who's going to be doing what, how we're going to structure this thing. And then from there, it's just obviously implementation. So our volunteer committee is, and for any PGA Tour Canada event, most definitely, is the driving force. They're going to be the guys and gals who are looking after all the small logistical details. So we have about 15 on there. What we did was we'd establish volunteer directors. Under them, they'll have a volunteer chair. So a volunteer chair could be responsible for scoring, another one for operations, another one for hospitality, etc. And then depending on how their sub-plan was working out, they'd establish a lead to, because the key really is delegation in these events. There's a lot of people that want to help. There's a lot of people that want to get involved. So, you got to use those resources best you can.
Absolutely. I've been lucky enough to volunteer at the RBC Canadian Open. I did player transportation. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool. And there is hundreds of volunteers. It seems like it's a very heavily volunteer run event. And there's so much that goes into it. Are you connecting with, at this level, are you connecting with the players a lot, or are we kind of putting on the event, players come in, do their own thing? Like you mentioned, hospitality, is that for a lot of the staff coming through, or is that players as well?
Well, again, essentially, pretty much every golf event through the board and most sports events are funded by businesses, VAPs, corporations. So that is, on paper, that's the main responsibility, is to ensure that the funders of the event are well taken care of. So the way I see this working is, PGA Tour Canada is like the league. They look after the players, and we know that 156 amazing golfers are coming to the course. They're going to have a good experience. We are looking after them. But when I talk about the volunteers being the driving force, I'm really, really integrated with them because I want to ensure that they're putting on a good experience, not only for the players, but again, spectators and our VIPs, the businesses that are supporting. So this tournament alone is going to be raising a minimum $100,000 for Soldier On. So you got to kind of work backwards from that. Okay, how do we get to that and cover all the expenses of the tournaments? And there's a lot of discussions going with these partners, not only for funding, but to supply things like 11,000 bottles of water, fruit and veggies, and you working with the host course Eagle Creek to get food for all the volunteers, etc. Right. So from a tournament perspective, honestly, on paper for me, it's the VIP partners as well as the volunteers that I really, really want to look after. And then in doing so, I know that the players and the tour is going to be looked after as well.
I like that because one of the most I've caddied now a few years in a row at the Osprey Valley event. So my man Ziggy will be there next week at the Ottawa Open. So
What's the full name there? Sorry.
Zahidali Nathu.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So he's from out west. He's from Vancouver, BC area. So hopefully he does well, and maybe then he'll buy me breakfast or something. Mac here for Manscaped, the best in men's grooming. We are back with a limited time offer on the Performance Package 4.0. If you're not watching this on YouTube or on Instagram or somewhere that we have this video posted, you should go look because I'm going to show you everything in each one of these lineups. The Performance Package 4.0 comes with the Crop Reviver, the Crop Preserver, the Weed Whacker for the nose. This thing would take down Eugene Levy, and the Lawnmower 4.0. We scroll down to the Platinum Package. It includes the Crop Preserver that we already talked about. You can't see it in the screen. Over there is a Crop Reviver, the body wash, shampoo, and conditioner, plus the deodorant, said Weed Whacker, said Lawnmower 4.0. And on top of that, you're going to get free boxers, my favorite pair of all 3 pairs that I own, my favorite toiletry bag of 2 toiletry bags that I own, free shipping, plus 20% off using the promo code OTSGolf over at manscaped.com or manscaped.ca. The best in men's grooming. Let's get to the back nine. We'll see you there. Mac here for BioSteel. We absolutely love this one on the pod. The hydration mix has been in our golf bags forever. The hydration mix has been designed in the most natural way possible to help you stay hydrated throughout your round of golf. Zero sugar formula is made from clean, quality ingredients and contains no artificial flavors and colors, added vitamins and minerals to help support overall good health, normal function of your golf swing, and your immune system. Simply mix it into some water, and you can enjoy it through all 18 holes. Clean, healthy hydration. Zero sugar, natural health product, no artificial flavors or colors, no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, caffeine-free, NSF, certified for sport. Biosteel.ca, biosteel.com. Use the promo code SCREWS30 for 30% off your order. SCREWS30 for 30% off your order. Stay hydrated, my friends. Going to the events, one of the things that we noticed the most when we were playing at Osprey is it was like 34 degrees Celsius or something, right? So, upwards of 90-something degrees Fahrenheit, anybody listening down in the States. And we were walking around carrying the bags, and like even just having bottles of water like on the tee blocks and stuff like that are just such huge things that these players playing in like a lot of the mini tour events might not be used to, right? So it's just kind of that next level type of, pro circuit type of treatment, right? So I know that
the amount of discussions around ice alone.
Yeah.
Volunteer, we probably logged 40 hours talking about ice. Well, it's going to melt here. How many freezers do we need? And we're literally bringing in 800 bags of ice through the week. So again, work backwards from what the players need and figuring out how it gets done.
Yeah.
But again, everybody needs to be taken care of. We want to make sure it's a safe environment as well. So
yeah, everybody's going to be kind of emptying their fridge too to bring ice over to the event. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. So we kind of got into like what goes into building one of these events. So when you guys first started talking, was it kind of with Scott Pritchard, who's been a guest I mentioned before? Were you talking about trying to get another event out east? How does that, like the inception of all that happen, Andy, and to get to the point where you are now?
Sure. Yes. The PGA Tour Canada staff's amazing, and Scott's obviously executive director, and he really puts a lot of things in motion, which was great. Tournaments can spring up in different ways. Somebody wants to run an event, they find a title sponsor, and to PGA Tour Canada, they go, hey, we can run an event. Other times it can be the reverse situation. So Scott actually put us as a host organization, which is Club EG, in touch with a potential title sponsor, the Commissionaires Ottawa, and a charity partner, Soldier On. and Eagle Creek with Club Link. So we kind of all four sat together and we said, okay, do we want to do this thing? Is everybody kind of, gung ho about bringing an event back to Ottawa and supporting the military, which again, Ottawa is a huge government town and it's always had a major military presence. So there's always that connection here. And, you look around the table and everybody's like, we're in, we're in, we're in, we're in. I think we were the last ones just knowing the time commitment and the amount of other events we had to do. But after hearing everybody's desire to get involved and support the Canadian Armed Forces through Soldier On, it really became a no-brainer. And the reality is running events are easier when it's in support of such a great cause. So that's how it unfolded. Scott was the man, and he connected everybody and said the right things at the right time. And there's been no secrets, no hidden agendas whatsoever. It is honestly transparent, and everybody's involved doing their part. And it's shaping up to be, because I've always kept an eye on PGA Tour Canada, and it's an amazing tour. And when you take on one of these events, you want it to be the best. And I'm not going to say it is going to be the best, but I wanted it to be as PGA Tour like as possible. And we're a few days away from kickoff, but it's looking great, really good.
Again, Andy, I appreciate you guys making time for us. I know it's we're getting down to the crunch. We're getting down to the crunch here, but you mentioned the course was at Eagle Creek. I was just looking at a couple photos of it. I've never played it, but it looks to be a really beautiful course. Now, you guys were getting dumped with rain yesterday. You said, how is things kind of shaping up for the course for the players right now? Looking okay?
Really good, really good. It's normally a par 72. It's going to play as a 71. One of the par fives just converted into par four because we know they're all going to get home in two anyways.
Yeah.
Greens are rolling absolutely beautiful. The course has put in a lot of work to ensure fairways and bunkers are consistent and fair. It's an amazing venue, and this course actually held a Canadian Tour event back, I think it was 1998 to 2002, called the Eagle Creek Classic. So it's not shy to major national events. And if you were on property and saw the 9th and 18th holes, which kind of come around a nice little pond with an island on the 18th hole to get home in two, like what a setting. And we wanted to build a hospitality suite in between the 9th and 18th greens. We ended up getting a partner, Cott Lumber, Cott Group Incorporated, and they built an unbelievable deck that's going to be there forever. So it's a little bit of a legacy for the members here at Eagle Creek. And then we put some tents on top. So that's going to be our hospitality suite. And it looks so cool coming down both those holes on the sides of the pond. So it's going to also make sure that, the tour has a very strong finish here this week.
I'm looking at it now. It looks like it's wrapped with a big bunker, one of them, either the 9th or 18th. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah. But you see that inlet island there that you kind of got to go to. Yeah.
That's nice looking. I like that. So I know you don't have a ton of time, Andy, but I want to talk about a couple of players in the field. I know Brad Fitch was in there, so former PGA player. He's an Ottawa guy too, I think, right?
Exactly. Yeah, from Manotick. Works a lot with Rideau View Golf Club, and his resume speaks for itself. So it was a no-brainer to get not only a local guy but a player of that stature in the event. And he's doing a lot to help us as well. So when you bring in key players like that, and I know the next guy who you're going to mention, it really becomes easier to promote the tournament and get partners involved to make sure that Soldier On's getting their big check at the end of the tournament.
For sure. And then the other guy was G, of course. So Claude Giroux. So sorry, Ziggy, if you're listening to this one by chance, it wasn't you. But so there's a sponsor's exemption. I saw there was one out at Osprey Valley for Micah Morris. So he's like a big social media kind of like influencer, does a lot of work there that way. And then I noticed that you guys posted a few weeks ago, Claude Giroux, right? So how does that kind of come about for a tournament? Like, I know I've seen G play, I think like on Foreplay a while ago, like way back, and he's got some games. So how does that kind of come about? How do you get connected to get him to come play in the tournament?
Yeah, so originally he's from Hearst, Ontario, but he's lived in Ottawa playing his junior hockey career. Lives in Ottawa now and loves golf. So I got to know him through the golf world, and he's one of the most competitive people I've ever met. So we've always stayed in touch. And then when this opportunity came up, he was actually one of the original guys. I said, what do you think if we were to take this on? And he said, whatever you guys need, I'm here to help. So that was kind of the inception of it. And then we got talking, and the title of honorary chair means he's going to be present for a lot of our partners, our volunteers, to kind of have access to him. 6-time All-Star guy. And then we said, okay, you should be playing in the event, because that's going to get like a lot of juniors out here really excited to see you play. He's got a strong game for sure, and he's been working hard. He's the type of guy that, plays maybe once a week in the summer and goes out and has fun. Not much practice because he's always at the gym or doing fitness or on the ice. But this year he's kind of taking it seriously because he doesn't want to embarrass himself, and I really don't think he will. But just that competitiveness in him, it is an attainable goal to potentially make the cut, and that's huge for guys like sponsors exemptions getting in, right?
Yeah, and I think it's too, like, obviously a draw. Like, you knew I wanted to talk about it. I'm a fan of the game. I'm a fan of the PGA Tour Canada. I'm a fan of the Ottawa Open. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you might want to kind of come out and follow his group, and then you'll learn a lot about some of the other players. Like, I've been able to caddy for a couple of friends like Ziggy and Jake and Jake McNulty and stuff when they're playing out at Toronto, and it's been really cool to even meet some of the other guys. When you talked about them like knocking a par 5 down to a par 4, I remember seeing a young man named Caleb Gorbon, and I think he's from out west as well. And he like flew a green that was like 349 or something like that, hitting driver. So it's, these guys got game, and they're all, kind of floating around par or better. And I'm sure you guys have talked about how to, build the course so it can be competitive for everybody and be difficult and but also kind of be fair, like you said, right? So do you, have you talked to Claude, like, about any, have you talked to him about any predictions or anything? See where his game's at right now?
Definitely. Yeah. Cause he's been doing a few practice rounds here, and um, I have talked. I wouldn't say nervous is the right word, but since he's such a competitive guy, he really, really wants to focus. But his
Right.
last comment to me was he'll be happy if he shoots a couple rounds in the mid 70s.
Okay.
Now, I think he's being a little humble there, but again, you never know, right? Because I don't think it's going to be the people, the spectators watching, that's going to impact. That'll only make him play a little bit better. That's my opinion, because I do know Claude pretty well.
Yeah.
But out of his mouth, it's I don't want to embarrass myself. I'd like to just keep it in the 70s. And I said, I'm a member of the PGA as well, PGA of Canada, and I know that you got to set your goals a little bit higher for whatever you want to end up doing. So I'm like, man, just focus on making the cuts. No big blow ups. He's got to get used to walking because he always takes a cart when he rides, right?
Yeah.
So small stuff like that, but it's a good conversation with him, and I know that everybody will be rooting for him just to play his best and keep it in play. And I think that's the end goal.
I'm thinking back to, I think it was when they were doing the Winter Classic when he was in Philly and Crosby was in Pittsburgh, and those two just like, dude, they are like oil and water, those two, and how competitive he was. And I'm sure it'll be a different type of kind of competitive juice that he's got, but any professional player, like hockey player, golfer, whatever it is, when you're playing in a tournament like this, like, you definitely would not want to be embarrassed. But I've seen his game. I got to go back and figure out what it was, but it was pretty sharp. But before I let you go, Andy, I know you guys are busy. So can we talk a little bit about the guest experience? Like, what if a fan wants to come out and check out the event? First, like, how can they get tickets? Website, Instagram, that kind of stuff. But also, what would somebody who's maybe never been to a PGA Tour Canada event, what would they expect?
Sounds great. So first off, the website's ottawaopen.golf. All the information's there, schedule, link to buy tickets. All tickets are in support of Soldier On. Monday, we have our title sponsors, Pro-Am. Tuesday's practice rounds. Anybody can come out on Tuesday, just walk right in, walk the grounds, check out the players doing their practice rounds. Wednesday's our official Pro-Am, so we're going to have all our partners out playing with the golf professionals. And then Thursday's where round one starts. So Thursday to Sunday, it's $15 per day per ticket. You can buy a 4-day pass. And then we have a VIP experience for $75 where you get access to a few exclusive areas, food and beverage. Typically, it's not a PGA Tour event where it's extremely crowded and you can't see the players. A lot of people will come out and just kind of find a good group and walk the course with them and experience how they play the full round Other people tend to park in an area for an hour, and there's a lot of great viewpoints here at Eagle Creek. So we're going to have a lot of volunteers on site. So if anybody's new to coming to a tour event, feel free to ask anybody in an orange shirt where some good spots are. They've all been briefed and they all know. But it's going to be a good look at some of these players. And again, the reality is PGA Tour Canada, there's going to be some of these players on the PGA Tour one day. If you look back at the history, Tony Finau, Corey Connors, Nick Taylor, Mike Weir on the old Canadian Tour, like it's they will be there. So that's what's really cool about this, is how close you can get to these guys kind of before they make a name for themselves. They're all just, you know, 1 or 2 putts away from making the big tour.
It's really true. And, you know, Nick Taylor, we all saw that a few weeks ago. And, you know,
Unreal.
Joel Damon, everybody's favorite, who's been on PGA Tour Canada too. I think he was a PGA Tour Canada Player of the Year, I think. So, so it is kind of that next step. And there's a lot of players that we've been lucky enough to talk to, or, you know, we might have planned to, you know, have a chat with in the future that are all elite players, and we get to see them in a lot of the mini tours in the area. Like we've mentioned, like a couple weeks in a row right now that Etienne Papineau, pretty sure he'll be in the field, is one of the best players on the planet right now. Doesn't matter what tour he's on, but it seems like every day shooting 65 or better, right? So if you can, definitely get out, check out the event. I've had an inside look, not playing, but inside the ropes, kind of caddying, and it's really cool because you can be, you know, 2 feet away from somebody that just wants to kind of come out and watch, and they're just in behind the tee block, and you can kind of chat with them. They get to know the players, and then, you know, they might go follow their career, right? So it's a really good kind of avenue to watch some of these players kind of parachute to the next level, and it's really cool. I'm glad that there's another event. This would be event number 13, I guess, now on schedule. There'd be 13 in total. I'm putting you on the spot there.
If you're Canada schedule, there's 10 this
10
year,
now,
and this
okay.
stop number 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're stop number 5, and there's 10 total. So that's it's good to see kind of things growing, which is really cool. Again, so in the show notes below, I'm going to put OttawaOpen.golf. Anybody who wants to go over, check it out, grab a couple tickets, go out and check out the event. And at Ottawa Open Golf over on Instagram is the handle there to follow it along, right?
Beautiful. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Andy, this was great, man. I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time. I know you're extremely busy. This tournament's going to be awesome. We'll be following along. Really appreciate you taking time to have a chat with us and kind of share the ins and outs of a PGA Tour of Canada event. This one was really cool. This was really neat.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
He's out in my ball in the course, so I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross, worst case scenario.